Welcome back, South Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show, brought to you by Glory Days Magazine, South Jersey Glory Days. Mark Trible here with Coach Tim McAneney. Coach, got your Hoosiers pull over here?
Well, I got my Philly Crimson, but it's also my Kyle Schwarber Indiana Hoosier.
Yeah, things were looking great for Schwarbs and the Phillies. We appreciate everybody
pushing
coming
back
a little bit later.
Yeah, pushing back. We're having the night version of our. I got the pajamas on, so we're good.
Little daylight savings version. Call back to what we talked about earlier this year, a couple weeks ago. Thank you everybody in the comments: Brandon, Hector, Thomas, Derek, Walter. A lot of people in tonight. I think I might know why. We're talking about baseball playoffs, but the football playoffs. This is the last week of the regular season. There's plenty to discuss. We do still have the Phillies on here, even though they've been a little bit disappointing here in the last couple hours.
It's playoffs, though. Listen, you never know what can happen. We'll see. Still got a couple outs.
That's the way we're going to treat it.
Still got 6 outs, Trip.
That's the way we're going to treat it, and we're going to treat the football playoffs the same. Tonight's show is going to be a great one for you. Go through some of the big games of last week. We got our Nod of the Week. 2 of them actually from the same school, so we're going to go through that. Big congratulations in advance to, well, I'm not going to say it. Not going
to give it away. Oh, that's what they call a little tease.
Hold tight, see if you made it. Also, we'll review some division title races. There's a lot up for grabs here in this final week of the regular season. Now, there still are regular season games being played that week of Turkey Day, but this is really the end of it, Mac. And we got division titles that are on the line. So rivalry games last week, division titles this week. On top of all that, a game of the week that's going to be pretty legendary. I don't know if it'll be as legendary as the one I saw last week, Mac, but we'll touch on that.
Crazy stuff in that one. Crazy stuff happening. That's high school football. That's sports. Anything can happen in sports, as we're going to find out. Yeah,
exactly. So first off, guys, let's roll through some of these games from last week. Some scores from Friday: Williamstown 22, Timber Creek 16. EHT beats Vineland 35-21. Eastern gets its first win of the year, 47-0 over Trenton. Overbrook 62, Lindenwold zip. Middle Township 41, Bridgeton 6. Consauken remains undefeated 39-6. They beat Camden Catholic. Penns Grove maintains its possession of the Norm Wildman Willie Boot Trophy 40-14 over Pennsville. Moorestown, the Quakers down Pemberton 35-8. Mainland 41, Clearview 14, Paul 6, 34, Collingswood 7. Florence 34, the Flashes get 34. Eustis zip. Haddon Township, Josh Dockery, last second pick 6 for the Hawks as they beat Wildwood 12-6. On Saturday, Gloucester Catholic 49-8 over Holy Cross. Audubon 31, Haddon Heights 14. Lower Cape May 27, Buna 22, and Maple Shade beats Clayton 36-6. Gammy, its first win of the Coach Heratopoulos era for the Braves. They get their first win of the year, 18-13 over rival Pleasantville. And speaking of rivalries, West and East, there's a boot there as well.
Got the boot.
2 boots were up for grabs. This one went to West again. 10 consecutive seasons, Chapel Avenue has hosted the boot. There's some of the brief detail. And now, some more detail. Friday, Mac, Delsey 28-3 over Hamilton in the Wing T Bowl. Jared Shoppy, 131 rush yards and a touchdown. Wayne Adair runs for a touchdown. Zach Maxwell runs for a touchdown and throws one to brother Luke. The Crusaders remain unbeaten.
I mean, we talked about last week, Delsey's just a team that just keeps doing what, as we say, Delsey does. It's broken record, but watching them is like a broken record, right? They're going to knuckle it up, control the ball, play defense. Make very few mistakes. The one game that they didn't feel they played well, they still won. They still won it and won it pretty handily. So, I'm sure we'll talk about Delsey later in the show, but Sal's got the wheels churning. That's for sure. I don't think they've lost a regular season game in
the first game of 2020.
Yeah, what's that? It's 2 years.
Yeah,
that's a long time. Doing well.
If you had the over/under of 1 passing touchdown, or a half passing touchdown, I guess is the way the odds makers would have done it. It hit the over.
Yes, the
as
over.
Luke Maxwell caught the pass from Zach Maxwell, his brother.
Correct.
Here's one. that we touched on in detail last week, the need for Kingsway to get that Cherokee monkey off its back, and they did that. 35-21. Nate Mayers throws for 2 touchdowns and runs for 2 more. 8 for 11, 194 yards. Luke Van Brill catches 3 balls, 121 yards. Big tight end right down the middle of the field. Has a touchdown. Benny Lyles catches a touchdown, and Darryl Brown runs for 1. Big win for the Dragons. Mac, you said, and I want to make sure everybody knows this. Mac says, you're not take it seriously until you beat Cherokee.
Well,
5, and they did.
You might be taken seriously, but you gotta win there. You got in Group 5. They've been the giant for the last 20 some years. Even on down years, Cherokee still tough place to play. But they show up. Their line. The Brady Witzel, right? Carter Williams, Matt Shields, Moises Sanchez, Dallas Brown, and then Logan Sweeney and Kai Hogan in there as well. The 5, 7 of those guys. I mean, we again every week we talk about. The skill guys. I mean, the bigs consider themselves skill guys as well, but the guys who score the touchdown, make the points, get the ink, so to speak. So they're moving the train. Watching Kingsway, with Coach Henney, when their offense is moving, you can tell when Henney's comfortable, right? You can tell when he feels he's got control, when he's a step ahead of what the defense is doing, and when he's in that role of calling plays, things are Kingsway. You don't see many times a team putting up 35 points against Cherokee at Cherokee.
Yeah, big win for Kingsway, 35-21. Highland beats Triton 53-6 in the rivalry game. Connor Leary throws for 3 touchdowns. Angelo Rodriguez runs for $148, 2 touchdowns. Nehemiah Butler Mayhew has 3 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air. Highland sweeps there. Black Horse Pike District rivals, with Timber Creek being the other one. They beat them earlier in the season. Not many teams score a lot of points on Ocean City, but Millville might be the only of not many teams. They win 41-7, rematch of last year's sectional final. Thomas Smith has a pick 6. Jacob Zamat was excellent, 11 for 15, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. Naeem Sharp, 14 rushes, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Demir White ran 7 times for 90 yards. Latsier Brooks receiving touchdowns. It sure looks like the Bolts are getting back in shape. Camden was beating Paulsboro 6-0 at halftime on Friday night. And in the second half, they scored 35 points in a row, won that thing 41-0. Deontay Ruffin threw for 291 and a touchdown. He ran for 1. Taquan Brittingham, the hero of the win against Haddonfield 2 weeks ago, has 2 knots in this game, a punt return and a scoop and score. Big win for Camden.
You get those nods, defensive touchdowns, special teams. Games can get out of hand quickly, and Camden had the cheat code in that second half against Paulsboro.
No doubt about it. It's youth football night, great event. I know Rod was there and saw all the kiddos out there in their jerseys and barbecue, and it was a fun time, huh?
Really great time. Good environment. Good to be back home, as they would say.
That's right.
But I can't let you guys gloss over the fact that Camden's defensive line absolutely turned that game around. Yeah. More so than, Brittingham scored 2 touchdowns within like 15 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Punt return, and then they fumbled, he scooped and scored. But that defensive line in the second half, I think James Hurd Jr. had 5 sacks in that game.
Wow.
So that's just a quick
Yeah, I mean, look, when having D-line, having O-line, I mean.
We talk about the big guys up
front.
front.
The D-line gets a little more love usually in the ink with the sacks and all that. But, yeah, when you got a D-line, it's fun, especially as a defensive play caller. When you can get to the quarterback with 4 and not have to send 5 or 6, and it makes life a lot easier. But Bobby was still telling me he's still probably sending 5 or 6 even. Bang, bang, right? So, creating havoc.
A game that was a little bit closer than Camden-Paulsboro. How about Glassboro? 28, Deptford 27 in overtime. The Bulldogs get this one. Jasir Harden, 5 for 7, 126 yards, 3 touchdowns. Amari Sabb runs for a touchdown. He had the game-tying catch in overtime, or I should say game-tying, brought them to within 1. They went for 2. Zayvon Burtgraves caught the winning 2-point conversion from Harden as Glassboro gets out of there in overtime. Glassboro, team to watch in that Group 1. You know, they took Woodstown to overtime. They beat Deptford here. I believe it's a Group 3 school. A lot of talent for Coach Tim Haggerty and company, and it's good to see Glassboro back in the mix, right? When Glassboro is doing well, South Jersey's doing well.
Right. And young talent coming up, too. Sab kid's a freshman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Another one coming.
Yeah, he's an eighth grader.
Yeah. A lot of talent.
It's good water.
Yeah,
it's good water
it's good
water in Sab House.
Their fair share of stellar players down at Glassboro. So always encouraging to see the maroon and gold back in the thick of it. Woodstown blanks Haddonfield 19-0. Again, we talk about not a lot of teams score a lot of points against Ocean City. Not a lot of teams shut out Haddonfield. We saw that Camden defense. You know, even then they gave up 3 points. I don't know. It's tough to put up a donut or to hold a team to a donut. But Woodstown,
right.
Look at this. Max Webb goes 11 of 14. They threw the ball 14 times, 145 yards and a touchdown. James Hill, 103 rush yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and a receiving touchdown. That's a big win for the Wolverines.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially at, where you are in the season, playoffs around the corner. A lot of these might face each other come down the road. So based on seedings and playoffs, et cetera. So
well, they'll be in separate brackets, but playoff-like game.
Yes,
it's all right.
That's yeah.
Group 1.
I know. Listen, I got.
I put the Group 1 on the platter.
Listen, I know this is going to go out through different mediums over the next
right.
week. So, but folks will see me watching an 8-5 Phillies game right now. So I am a little distracted. Apologies.
We talked about this before the show. Mac is a bigger Phillies fan than any other team in any sport, right?
Phillies. I said to my son last night, Phillies are my favorite team. And he's like, well, what's your favorite sport, Dad? Tommy goes, what's your favorite sport? I said, football. He says, well, how can the Phillies be your favorite team and football be your favorite and football be your favorite sport? I said, look, I grew up in my house. I just told Rod, the team was Pennsauken High.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no Eagles. It wasn't Penn State. It wasn't Temple. It was Pennsauken High. So that was the team that was our football team. We watched high school football, and in the off season we were all going to Phillies games. Right. That was kind of the time to enjoy some downtime. So, so my favorite team, yes, it is the Phillies.
It is the Phillies. So you can excuse them.
I love the Flyers, Sixers, and Eagles too. But Phillies are Phillies are my favorite out of the Philadelphia teams.
Chris says the Phillies pitching went down the drain. Your ace is supposed to get a 4-run lead, put a team away. He better step up if he's going to be an ace. The guy last night, let's not get into it, but we are going to talk about, Chris, I'm glad you mentioned you went to Gloucester High, and we are going to talk about our knots of the week. That's Gloucester High. 41-0, they beat Sterling. We got 2 here. Now, these clips go on for a little bit, so we're ready, Rod. We'll just dress it up here. We're down here in Gloucester. Rod's got it up here on the screen.
Beautiful field, right? New
Beautiful
field.
turf.
Absolutely.
Beautiful turf. Caleb Wright is the unsung hero on this play because he's the one who's going to force the action. And then from there, Demir Finley finishes it up. Here we go. We got a scramble, but Wright forces it, and then boom, right to the lineman. And
he's moving.
Is gone. He's
moving.
even off the screen.
No, he's going.
He's in off the screen. That's a long touchdown for Demir.
Look how excited the sidelines are too, right?
Place is going nuts.
Of course they are.
Mac, this next one is even better. The next one, I want to talk about Leo Curran. I hope I pronounced that right, Leo. Leo Curran. Wait for it to come. It is a beautiful field and a good atmosphere. And Gloucester has a heck of a team this year. And on this play, Leo Curran, he's going to find the ball. But what he does after he finds the ball is, here's a strip sack. Leo's got it. He adjusts his glasses briefly, is what the coach told me. He had to be able to see what was going on.
Right. Well,
he kind of adjusts his glasses, and then he runs it in for a touchdown. So he saw, when he did adjust the glasses, he could see nothing but green. So nothing but green turf.
Rod, was that sent intercut with the scoreboard in the lower left, or did you do that?
It was.
No, that was sent in like that.
It was sent in like that.
That's a nice touch for their kids watching film. It keeps you. You don't have to go to back forth end zone view, back and forth. That's nice.
Congratulations to Gloucester High. 2 knots.
Simple things, Rod. Simple things.
The Lions, they get the Lions' share of knots and knots of the week. So congratulations, Gloucester. They beat Sterling 41-0. In other action, there were no knots because there were no touchdowns in this next one. West Deptford beat Salem 6-0. It's Brady Clark who plays a hero. Talked about Boots. His 18-yarder and his 42-yarder were the only scoring in the game. Cumberland beat Shalleck in a big rivalry game. No Golden Fedora this week as the Colts win 21-16. Kion Barnes has put up an excellent season for Cumberland. Every week we see him in the stats, 134 rush yards, a rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown.
Good, nice job by Cumberland.
Yeah.
The Colts are having a nice, quiet year.
Yeah, they're doing a great job down there.
Quietly,
Quietly
having a good year.
One of those programs like this one we're about to talk about where, and Shalleck too, for that matter, where the program really struggled, and now it seems like they're building back up, partially because of, coaching. Coach Coombs is doing a nice job getting kids out, and the scheduling helps always bounce back. But Pittman is one of those teams, and Pittman a couple years ago, or a few years ago, I don't remember, Kevin will be able to probably drop it in here, only had a JV team, had to pare it down to that. And I remember they played that Thanksgiving Day game, was a varsity game to maintain that tradition, but only had a JV team. And now Pittman clinched a share of the division with their 14-3 win over Gateway the other night. It's the first title since 1949. They can win it outright against Pennsville this Friday. So,
Huge.
Big time deal. No varsity team in 2017, Chris says. He'll be at that game with Pennsville and Pittman on Friday night. Congratulations to Pittman. Shawnee, 24-10, Mac. Joe Papa, 274 yards passing.
Yeah, it did.
Touchdown, ran for 2 more.
Yeah.
Liam Gilmore, 115 yards receiving and a touchdown. Tell me about the Renegades.
I'll tell you, it was a game they needed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they lost 4 in a row, and we talked in prior shows. They're losing to the likes of the Millvilles, the Cherokees, the St. Augustines, Winslow. I mean, 4 really good programs, but there's only so many times you can have those moral victories. Hey guys, we're gonna be okay. These are kids. They got to win, or they want to win. I mean, you want to come off the field feeling good. 3-0 half. I mean, you just kind of felt like Shawnee had opportunity. You're watching the game thinking they're going to leave some stuff out there, but along the fact with the Papas 274 yards passing. I mean, I think Krause had 4 or 5 receptions for another 150 with Gilmore's. Krause was again unbelievable on the field. Liam, I said, like you said, Gilmore made some plays. I mean, defensively stepped up. Second half was just, something tells me, or I kind of know, Bertie told me, something at halftime, they kind of said, look, guys, you got to show up and play some football.
Yeah.
And they circled the wagons and came out and put up, 21 points in the second half and won 24-10. So, a lot of power points. Good Washington Township football team at Washington Township. Yeah. So, Shawnee kind of, rights its footing a little bit, which is, good for them.
They certainly did. They were on a little bit of a skid there where they lost 4 in a row.
4, So look, like their defense played solidly throughout the game. Guys like Jimmy Potter, tough on defense. Krause, as I said, both sides of the ball. Josh Palouse. Jackson Harris just dominates the middle there for them. 69. He just, offensively, defensively, he causes problems for opposing teams. And look, they. Shawnee's a good team. I mean, I watched them enough, and when they can get it clicking and play the defense, I think if you can get that bounce going in the playoffs,
it's a big deal.
Yeah, it definitely
is. Especially in
is.
that Group 4, which is going to be so tough.
Yes, it is.
Seneca, still undefeated. 42-0 over Cinnamons and Braden Davis. 5 total touchdowns, 3 rushing, 2 passing. Zach Fioron, 117 rush yards and a touchdown. The Golden Eagles have a chance to finish a perfect regular season.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've some struggles in years. Fish does a great job down there. They got great community to support that program. They got their new turf, so it's pretty cool to see. I mean, the excitement that football brings to Seneca High School. we've talked about it too. Every Friday morning, drumline, you get off the buses, you walk into school, you get the drum lines walking in. It's a pretty cool place to play for.
Yeah, I have no beef with Fish or Seneca, except I think they should have kept those helmets up there. They went with all gold. They look a little bit more like these helmets down here, those Holy Spirit helmets. But I like the white with the gold wings. So, but hey, it works. They went to these, now they're undefeated. So, who am I to say?
Right.
Apparently, there's more to football than just helmets. Saturday, Burlington City, Palmyra, Rivalry. This thing did not look good for the Blue Devils. They're down 29-7. Then they scored 29 points in a row and won 36-29. Aiden Shanzy, 268 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Aaron Young, 101 rush yards, 2 touchdowns. 154 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Young, shouldn't have to pay for a Gatorade in Burlington City for a long time with that performance. That's pretty impressive. 255 total yards and 4 total touchdowns against your rival, and have a comeback like that, a moment in history, certainly for Burlington City.
Yeah, I'm sure he slept well.
I think so. Cedar Creek 14, Oakcrest 6. Billy Smith 14-20, 208 yards and a touchdown. Aline Parks with a receiving touchdown. Winslow beats Burlington Township 35-21. Jimmy Wilson throws for a touchdown at 144 yards. Ran for another. Javon Johnson, 2 rushing touchdowns. Jamil Peterson, Hat Man, 182 rush yards and a touchdown. And Cam Miller caught 1 for 6 as the Eagles beat the Falcons 35-21. RV beats Northern Burlington, another rivalry game, 24-17. Jeremiah Paula, 137 rush yards, 3 touchdowns. As Garrett Lucas joins that rivalry with a win.
Tied late. It was 17-17 late, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I believe. Yep.
St. Augustine and Camden Eastside on Saturday. I'll tell you what, Mac, I saw this. The Hermits line just up front was too much, and Julian Turney was great on the ground. Since he's gotten in there, the offense has been completely different. The last 3 weeks for St. Augustine, they scored 38, 38, and 41. Oakcrest transfer, he's a tough kid, a tough back. He hits the hole. Those guys up front know how to make the hole, and he knows how to hit it. St. Augustine really clicking. 41-18, was impressed with them up front. Noah Cressman.
I was going to say, you gave a lineman a hat.
I did.
An offensive lineman, Rod.
I did.
An offensive lineman got a hat.
I think he was forced to in that game.
In that game, there wasn't much choice. Yeah. There wasn't much choice. As well as Turney played, you figure somebody said I should give out 5, but I only wear 1. We had to just give out 1. And Noah Cressman, and I mentioned this on Sunday, is also in my tweet. Noah Cressman, great kid, had a big smile on his face. Lost his father recently, playing through that in that grieving process. Not easy. Wanted to be on the field. Wanted to be with his team. Coach Lancetta very just effusive in his praise for that young man. He should be.
Yeah, we've talked about other situations. The kids. It's great to see teammates rally, whatever the sport, but this one obviously football. That. They talk about brothers and family, but these guys spend a lot of time with each other, man. 3-4 hours a day, 7-8 months a year. They got each other's backs, in any sport, right? You got guys, they pick each other up, and having the ultimate pickup is playing with your boys and getting a win and a way to have some fun in a bad situation.
Well, and many times, football is a family sport. We certainly know about the connection with your dad, Mac, and the impression that he's left on you and as a coach and as a person. And
I didn't say it, Rod. We didn't go the first ding doesn't have to be me going bing.
No,
Mac.
it was you. It was you this
no,
time.
You're right.
But, hey.
You're right. I did say it talking early on.
Yeah, you did. Kind of.
Yeah, I did allude to.
But it's the same way. My love for football began going to Fauquier Falcon games. My dad.
Say that again?
Fauquier Falcons. That's right, baby.
I thought he was mad at me, Rod.
I know. Fauquier High School too, pal. We used to go to the games every week.
We're gonna have to spell that. Are we gonna get censored?
Well, that was kind of wow.
Yeah, what?
That's the saying, man. What do you want me to say?
What happened there?
We used to always go to the Falcons games, sponsor the team. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, congratulations to Noah and St. Augustine. Friday's game of the week, Cherry Hill Dodge game of the week, and it lived up to the hype. St. Joe and Lenape, first time they ever played. Lenape is winning this game by 15 points with 5.5 minutes left in the game. First possession of the fourth quarter, they get stopped on 4th and goal. They never had another offensive snap. Michael LeMay, who was tremendous, takes a punt to the house. They block another punt. Ethan Craig runs it in. Now it's 28-13. St. Joe mounts a drive. They score. They get the onside kick. Trevin Del Grazo talked about this on my Hats Off podcast on Sunday. If you missed it, go back and watch.
St. Joe starts the process with the long kickoff return at 28-13. So it's 28-13, and they have a 60 kickoff return, which gives them a short field, which allows them to get to 28-19.
Yeah.
And then
they score. They go for 2 on that first touchdown, which you're kind of thinking, I don't know if that's the way you want to do it, because you could get it the second time. They don't get it. Now they're down 9, 2 possessions.
Yeah,
maybe they knew Trevin Del Grazo was just had it in his foot.
I'm a bigger fan of going for it later, because then you don't have to, just do what you normally do until you need to do something that you don't normally do. Mm-hmm. So, but and then some wackiness happened.
Yeah. So they get the onside kick. They score again. Jimmy Montuano runs it in. And this kid's tough as nails, Jimmy. I mean, I was very impressed with him. I thought St. Joe was left for dead and found a way. They score again. They kick the extra point. They kick the onside kick again. Trevin comes through. Richard Chandler recovers both of them, number 25 for the Wildcats.
And both were perfectly done. I mean, the double bounce, the ba-bang, and with the rules now that you can't load up a side, you can only have 6 to a side at most. It was pretty impressive stuff on the execution of that. I mean, kicker did, fantastic job of getting that done, and then executing on the other side with his boys recovering it.
Yeah, then they put together a nice little drive and chew the clock down and convert on a big. I think it was a 3rd down. It could have been a 4th down. Everybody who watched on Sunday knows I admitted I stopped taking play-by-play. So
it was a QB draw, right? Didn't he?
Well, they had a nice slant that extended the drive right around midfield, and then it kind of eased in, and they get it down there. Coach Sacco made sure to tell Jimmy Montuano, just keep it in the middle of the field. 34-yard kick at the gun, basically, right down the middle. Del Grazo, the hero, had him on Sunday. Great kid, good interview. The Cats just keep finding ways to win, and they keep getting counted out, even by yours truly on Friday. Thought that game was over. I think almost everybody did except the guys on the sideline. What a win as St. Joe takes it 29-28 in the Cherry Hill Dodge game of the week. We are going to talk about division title races. We're going to talk about some of the biggest games coming up. I don't know how much soapbox we're going to have tonight, but maybe we'll have one. Stay tuned. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show will be back right after this.
I got a soapbox.
Okay.
The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is sponsored by Mall Chevrolet on Haddonfield Road. Mall Chevy is South Jersey's largest Chevy dealer and has been a big part in helping our community grow. They're proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. Mall Chevy is our area's go-to dealership with the largest selection of brand new Chevys and a huge inventory of pre-owned vehicles, plus an award-winning 5-star service department. They're located on Haddonfield Road across from the Cherry Hill Mall, or visit them at mallchevy.com. Special thank you to Dave O'Sullivan of South Jersey Glory Days, sjglorydays.com. South Jersey Glory Days brings us a platform that we've been on here for the last couple of years. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show would not be possible without him. Visit Sully's website, sjglorydays.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Atlantic Chrysler Jeep Fiat. Located on Tilton Road in Egg Harbor Township, it's been a big part in helping the community grow. Proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. Atlantic Chrysler Jeep Fiat. Tremendous selection of brand new cars and pre-owned vehicles. An award-winning service department. A presenting sponsor of the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. The show is also sponsored by Jersey Gridiron Scout. Coach Tom Pagic is Jersey Gridiron Scout, the premier recruiting service platform for all middle school and high school prospects in the tri-state area when it comes to football. Jersey Gridiron Scout does 3 things for football prospects. 1, they have a senior showcase in December and an underclassmen showcase in May for high school prospects to be evaluated in front of more than 50 colleges. 2, they have off-season winter indoor position trainings for youth, high school, and college prospects from January to June at the Fieldhouse in Moorestown. And 3, they educate families on the college football recruiting process and timeline. Check out Tom's website at jerseygridironscout.com for more information. Follow him on Instagram at jerseygridironscout and on Twitter at Coach Pajic. That's at Coach Pajic. South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Cherry Hill Jeep on Route 70, home of the real zero down deal. For over 50 years, Cherry Hill Jeep's been a big part in helping the community grow, and they remain proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football.
Welcome back, South Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. A lot of divisions up for grabs. Mac in the West Jersey Football League. Pronunciations are getting a hold of us tonight.
We're a little angry if people aren't, when people the live know now, but the people on tape the Phillies just lost 8-5. And
It's good you're thinking about the tape. That's it.
Yeah, they're going to watch the tape. Now, if they were waiting to watch the film, if they were waiting to watch the Phillies until they watched us, sorry, I spoiled it for you.
If you had a DVR.
Yeah, and I haven't watched House of Dragons from this week, so nobody's saying anything.
Right. The American Division, Millville can win this thing outright with a win and a Lenape loss. They clinch a share of the title with a win. Remember, the West Jersey Football League does not give titles based on head-to-head tiebreakers. They're shared titles. Cherokee can win outright with a win and a Lenape loss. They play against Millville this week. They clinch a share with the win. And Lenape can clinch a share with a win. They cannot win this thing outright. Classic Division, Haddon Township can win outright with a win and a Florence loss. Clinch a share with a win. Florence clinches a share with a win. They cannot win outright. Cherry Hill East win outright and a win with a win and a Florence loss. Cherry Hill East. Right there. Colonial, Gloucester can clinch a share with a win this weekend. They cannot win outright. Deptford can win it outright with a win and a Gloucester loss. Overbrook with a win and a Gloucester loss. They win it outright. Continental, this one's much more simple. Holy Spirit and Kingsway. The winner wins the division. That's it.
As it should be. No share.
No share.
This is not kindergarten sandbox. No
Straight
share.
up.
No share, Rod.
2 of the best teams in South Jersey. They will not share. They'll be put in timeout. Diamond Division, Woodbury. They win outright. It's theirs. Or if Woodstown loses to Pensgrove. For Woodstown, if they beat Pensgrove and Woodbury loses to Salem, they would get a share. Freedom Division, Maple Shade clinches a share of the title with a win. Cinnaminson can win it outright if they win and Maple Shade loses. If Pemberton wins outright and Maple Shade loses, they would win the division outright. Horizon, another one of these beautiful ones right here. Shalleck and Gloucester Catholic. Winner gets the title.
Win.
Of the Horizon Championship. The division. Independence Division, Delsey. They play St. Joe. If they win it, they get it. They're undefeated, of course. If they lose, St. Joe can win it. If they beat Winslow, I think they play Turkey Day week. Yeah. Patriot Division, Pleasantville, they win it outright with a win over Middle Township. Middle Township can clinch a share if they beat Pleasantville. And Glassboro clinches a share with a win over Buna and a Pleasantville loss. The Royal Division, Pittman wins it outright with a win over Pennsville, and Lower Cape May clinches a share if they win over Gateway and Pittman loses to Pennsville. So there you have it, some clinching scenarios.
It's like geometry. A lot of ifs and thens. And did you do that, or did you?
No, we had some help.
Oh, that's a lot of help
for helping us out on
yeah,
this.
that's a lot of stuff.
It's good stuff.
Because I don't think shares should count. I don't win your division, right?
Well,
if A beats B, B beats C, and C beats A.
I think head-to-head should be a tiebreaker.
Well,
for a
head-to-head should.
championship.
That's what I'm saying. Head-to-head should be a tiebreaker.
Yeah, but I think if everybody lost one game
Well,
to
if
different teams, then it should be a
then
share.
if A beats B, B beats C, and C beats A, it's a shared.
Yeah.
But how do they not have head-to-head as a tiebreaker?
Well, and I think it seems like the teams that finish tied, that lost to the team that's ahead, they probably like that because they could say they won it, but
they know they lost to the other team.
right. I don't know. That's more psychology, I think, than football.
What do you mean, like trophy for everyone?
No, just mind stuff.
If you beat the team and you're tied in the record, you win.
I agree with that, but it's just not the way it's done.
But I have one loss, you have one loss, but I beat you. Who's got the? I have one loss, you have one loss. I beat you.
In 2022?
Oh.
There you go.
Who thought of that one?
Not I. Above my pay grade. Here's some games that are important this week. Ones you might want to watch out for. We have a little bit of detail on them. Northern Burlington heads to Seneca Friday night, 6 p.m. Northern Burlington's a tricky team, man. They got some talent. They got some pretty decent players. They're going down there and they're trying to spoil Seneca's unbeaten regular season shot. The other team that has a chance, there are two more teams in South Jersey still unbeaten. Pensauken and Delsey. Seneca is looking to finish it off. I don't know who Sauken plays this week. They beat Camden Catholic last week. I mistakenly put that in there. Somebody make sure you
Chime in.
Who
does Pensauken? I'll tell you right now. I knew this. Rod's going to get it.
They face Vineland this week.
Vineland. Pensauken does? That's right.
Yeah,
I think
1
it's on Saturday,
1
isn't
p.m.
it? 1 p.m. on Saturday at Vineland.
Yes.
There you go. This next game, we talked about it being for a division. It's some of the better coaching staffs in South Jersey, in my opinion. Holy Spirit is going to host Kingsway, 6 p.m. for the division. Should be fun. Tom Pagic agrees. He's got the people you need to watch out for on both sides of the ball. Nate Mayers, Daryl Brown, Roman Kuzmic, Benny Lyles, all having good years. But Luke Van Brill had a big night against Cherokee. Tight end, defensive end, linebacker, 6'1", 220-pound junior. 19 catches this year. 7 of them are for touchdowns. That's Gronk-like stuff, right? Ranks 30th in the state with 430 receiving yards. He's the go-to target when they need that gritty play. It shows down the red zone.
Look, you see it in the upper levels. The athletic tight end can cause some problems because, it's the guts is throwing it to him in the seams, right? In the high school level, everybody's like, oh, the middle of the field's wide open. Yeah, it is, but tips and overthrows causes problems.
That's right.
So, so if you got a quarterback you can trust and a tight end who can find some soft spots and some seams, he's usually being covered by a linebacker who's got to get in depth. And if a safety's creeping up, that means the receivers against the corners have a little more space on the post, et cetera, et cetera. So tight end and teams that go to him can cause some damage.
And anybody who knows wrestling knows that a Van Brill is going to be tough. And he does it on defense too. 42 total tackles, 19 of them solo, a couple tackles for loss. Tom Pagic says this is the guy. Number 14, keep an eye on him if you're a Kingsway fan. For Holy Spirit, Sean Burns, of course, 6'2", 180 pounds, senior quarterback, leads the state in passing with 1,806 yards, third in the state with 17 passes for 6. 70% completion percentage, 3-sport athlete, plays lacrosse and swims.
Feels like a couple weeks ago, more than a couple weeks ago, we were watching him down at Battle of the Beach being like, look at this dude. He's doing some things, right? He comes out and making some plays, and all of a sudden he's put some top numbers up in the state.
And Gavin Roman, of course, Mr. Do-It-All, has been tremendous in his career. His father, Charlie, is offensive coordinator. Gavin's 5'9", 170 pounds. He plays a lot bigger than that. I think he set the Holy Spirit receiving record. We talked about that in single season. We talked about that last week, or maybe career. 645 receiving yards this season. one of the best in South Jersey at that position. So watch out for him. That should be a good one. 6 p.m. in Absecon. Also, Tom Pagic, the Jersey Juice Uncommitted Senior Showcase is set for Monday, December 5th. Registration is open. Find Coach Pagic on Twitter at Coach PAJIC. If you're an uncommitted senior, sign up for that showcase. A lot of colleges that are there just to look at you at all different sizes. So definitely worth going. Cherokee at Millville, 6 p.m. Another one with a lot of potential to be a classic. Millville is finding its footing the last couple of weeks. Cherokee, again, we haven't seen Bam. We think he could be coming back. I don't know. But Millville at Wheaton Field is tough to play against. They look like they're primed. Cherokee, on the other hand, they would like to get on the right foot going into the postseason.
Right. I mean,
compared to the last couple of weeks.
You said Millville, and I don't know if Millville really lost its footing. I mean, it kind of had a little bit of a Lenape blip at Lenape. Like you said, Cherokee wants to right the ship a little bit. What's the last going into the playoffs. So, but yeah, your guess is as good as mine if Mr. Bory is playing or not. I don't know.
Lenape at St. Augustine at 6 p.m., same division, right? Okay, Lenape, they're ready to get last week out of their minds.
Yeah, we talked about it.
That's just it's a tough way to lose a game.
Yeah, it is. And the kids, the coaches talked about it. The kids put an unbelievable effort out last week. And if you talk to Woj, this is one he didn't sleep all week about. So, because when you have these opportunities I'm not saying no coach ever thinks a game's done till it's done. But when you see 2 onside kicks and happen with, I don't like. I was talking to Coach Martino. My gosh, we always talk about if you can score a defensive touchdown, you're usually going to win a game. Like we used to say, if you block a punt, you're going to win. If you block a punt and score on that block punt, you're probably definitely going to win. So Lenape scores block punt and returns a punt. It doesn't win.
Well, it's weird because the reason they were in that situation was special teams. The reason they lost the game was special teams.
Yeah.
So it was both sides of the knife. And again, only had 1 snap on offense in the fourth quarter, which is odd.
Well, when you give up 2 onside kicks.
Well, when you score twice. It's just like that's a...
Yeah. Well, you didn't have... they block punt, the punt return. There's two possessions right there in the fourth quarter, and the 2 onside kicks. There's 4 possessions that were taken from them. 2 were okay. The other 2, not so good.
Yeah. And, Mr. Delgado said that LeMay got his fingertip on that kick, too.
I'm sure he did. But
his heart sank.
Yeah, but...
when number 20 came off the edge and just had enough. So Lenape at St. Augustine, 6 p.m. should be a good game. Hamilton at Ocean City, 6 p.m. 2 teams, again, looking to bounce back. 2 Group 4 teams. They are entering a loaded playoff group. Hamilton has really had a nice season, but took one on the chin to Delsey, which a lot of teams have. Red Raiders against Millville, same way. At 6 p.m., Hamilton. Blue at Ocean City. Cedar Creek at Winslow, 7 p.m. 2 teams jockeying for position also. They were sectional champs last season. As of now, Winslow is the 9 seed in Group 4 out of 16. Cedar Creek is the 11 in Group 3 out of 16.
Winslow's playing at 7, Friday, not Saturday?
I think so. I believe so. Yeah. Might have to do with the playoffs being next week.
Yeah,
short week.
No, I get it. Yeah. 8. Yeah, because they're going to have to play Friday night. Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Or Saturday.
They might not have to. It could be their, they could host. It's possible.
Back in the day, it used to be if you had to declare, are you a Friday night team or a Saturday afternoon team? You couldn't play around with, but.
Well, last year they played Saturday nights.
Yeah, I know.
So what I'm saying is that they could be on the road. The fact that they could be on the road, you might want to play Friday because you could have a short week. You might not. In that case, you have a long week.
There you have it.
Just one day.
Yeah.
Daylight savings. Haddon Heights at West Deptford, 7 p.m. Friday night. This could be a win and in game. I know Haddon Heights is on the outside looking in right now. West Deptford, by virtue of their win over Salem last week, is in right now, but the footing is a little bit slippery there. I think it's pretty close. So that's a game, has a lot of implications. Certainly the Garnets, if they don't win that one, will not be in the postseason, I would guess. I'm no mathematician, but that's the way it seems. Saturday, Woodbury at Salem at noon. Rematch of last year's regional final in Group 1 for South. The Rams took that one handily, but now they are on a 3-game snide, and we've talked about it before. They're not scoring. The Herd were off last week, and they look like the team to beat in South Group 1. Last time they took the field, they dispatched Woodstown 28-6. I was there. They lost once. It was to Haddonfield a few weeks ago. They look to be clicking at this point. I know they have revenge on their minds, and Salem has to find a way to score some points. But this is a game that I think, because this last week it was circled, it just goes to show what life can be like in the West Jersey Football League, where now Woodbury seems to be a heavy favorite in this game compared to,
What do you think?
what we thought 3, 4, 5 weeks ago.
Sure. But I wouldn't say heavy. Salem's a little bit kicking stones right now. We'll see.
And they're at home.
Yeah.
Max, your soapbox, your time to shine. What do you got? About Aaron Nola?
I was just getting ready to say.
It-
It's not
well-
Phillies related.
Well, you know what? It's actually about Kyle Schwarber a little bit, our Indiana Hoosier.
Go ahead.
So Schwarber's been playing hurt, right? Nobody knows. They don't talk
They do
about
now.
it. They do now, post facto. So here's how it has to do with high school, right? Folks, stands, fans, parents, you don't know what's going on, meaning in the injury report, the locker room. I think a lot of our fans watch too much college and pro football and try to equate it to high school. Sometimes they don't kick a field goal because the long snapper might be playing middle linebacker and has broken 2 fingers. Or, the holder is also the quarterback who just got knocked out of the game or got a big hit. Lot more moving parts, or I should say less moving parts in high school. So it's sometimes easy to say this is what they should do. Why doesn't coach do this, that, or the other? And coaches aren't going to turn around with the old school cheerleader megaphones and go,
He's hurt.
Yeah, Johnny, we don't have a backup snapper, right? This is right. So I'm just giving you the for instance of the. We were very fortunate at Lenape. We had a lot of good kickers come through when I was there, right? Kicker. And I remember talking to my kicker saying, guys, sometimes we don't kick a field goal. I know you made the 48-yarder, with the stick thing. That with
Right.
boom, and they put the set up and
Right.
and they bang them, they hit them, and I don't think that they're not. It's just that I got a guy who's been playing offensive line the whole game who can barely hold his head up, who has to snap the ball, a kid who has to hold the ball. A lot of moving parts in that process. So there's a lot more going ons in the games than even the parents know.
My soapbox.
Is that all right? Is that
that was a
one.
really good one.
That's a good one.
That was a really good one.
I like that.
The bow was tied on. Excellent job.
Tied it into Schwarber.
Tied it into Schwarber. Excellent work. My soapbox is this. First off,
It's hold on. It's Mac's soapbox, but go ahead.
it's your soapbox, but you went so quick. I gotta chime in 2 things.
2 things.
First off, you never know what happens when you get turf, right? Turf can be great. On some occasions, not so much, right? If you're playing on grass on Friday, you win by 15 points. But that's nothing against it. Beautiful
means
field.
Lenape.
Here's
Right.
the biggest thing, though. Here's the biggest thing. Tony Catani, principal of Lenape, our buddy,
Yes.
watched the show, one of the best, had a beautiful red blazer on Friday night because it was Lenape's Hall of Fame night. Big night, great occasion. I said, this is the first time, Tony, you outdressed me coming to a game.
So
he will never wear that blazer again after what happened at the end of that game.
So his soapbox talks about how a principal, Mr. Catani, outdressed him. Now, here's how we digress.
He'll never wear that blazer again. Ask him.
Listen, here's
You know him. He won't.
I have a maroon blazer he could borrow.
That's right.
Now, here's where we digress, and I'll back you on the turf. 2005, we're winning 28 to, I think, 8 against Holy Cross at halftime. Mm-hmm. Tommy Riley's a sophomore, I think, comes in the game. On a grass field, I'm walking out at halftime, it's raining sideways. Grass field, game over, sludge. Holy Cross can't throw the ball in this sludge. But to your point, it was our first year of the turf. Bone dry turf, they ended up beating us 29-28. Holy Cross was very good that year. It was going to be a huge upset for us. But you bringing up the turf and the onside kicks reminded me of us playing on turf, and if it was on grass, you're not coming back from down 20 points on a deluge. And
Kevin Minnick wants to know 3 Player of the Year candidates. He wants that on the soapbox. And I'm not going to short anybody, but I'm going to tell you one right now that I can guarantee is in the mix because he's going to be a part of our Game of the Week this week. So if you sit tight, you're going to find out who that person is. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this with the Game of the Week preview and our Best 11 rankings. Hold on.
The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is sponsored by TurnersvilleJeep.com on Route 42 in Turnersville. Turnersville Jeep is proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. TurnersvilleJeep.com has a huge inventory of Jeeps, Chryslers, Dodges, and Ram trucks, all brand new. They also have a ton of pre-owned vehicles, plus an award-winning 5-star service department. Drive a little and save a lot at TurnersvilleJeep.com. They're located on Route 42 in Turnersville, or visit TurnersvilleJeep.com. The show is also sponsored by the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 2 years, the association has created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated more than $20,000 to date to provide scholarships and help those in need. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at Sra Home Products, who also sponsor the show. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They have built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley. I've had the opportunity to be around owner Mike Fody, and I have nothing but the best things to say about Mike and his crew. SRA is a gold-accredited member of the Better Business Bureau under the Elite Provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up numerous Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. Thank you to our sponsor, Ricky Moriello at Rematch Community. If you or someone you know is looking for real estate in South Jersey, find Ricky and reach out to him. He's helped us bring this show to you each week for the last couple of years. We can't be more grateful for that. He knows where to find your real estate. Give him a ring at 609-352-9476. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Cherry Hill Kia and Cherry Hill Mitsubishi on Route 70. If you want to talk about top-notch selection and service that's the best around, take your car to either of these dealerships. You won't be disappointed. And while you're there, you could probably talk some ball too. These guys love South Jersey football. Get over to Cherry Hill Kia or Cherry Hill Mitsubishi today.
Welcome back, South Jersey football fans. Our game of the week this week is brought to you by Atlantic Chrysler Jeep Fiat, located on Tilton Road in Egg Harbor Township. It's been a big part of helping the community grow, and they are proud to sponsor South Jersey high school football down there. Atlantic Chrysler Jeep Fiat has a big selection of brand new cars, and they got quite an inventory of pre-owned vehicles too, an award-winning 5-star service department. That's Atlantic Chrysler Jeep Fiat, sponsor of our Game of the Week. If you take a selfie at that Game of the Week, you have a week to cash it in for a free oil change. I would recommend doing that. Who wants to pay for an oil change? Go to the game, take a selfie, go to Atlantic Chrysler Jeep Fiat, cash that thing in. Friday at 7 p.m. at Rowan University, St. Joe and Delsey. This is technically a home game for St. Joe, but they have no home field this year. So they are hosting the Crusaders This one could go by quickly. Another one that will be run mostly between the tackles. You look at, maybe not. I mean, there was St. Joe runs a lot of counter. They get out and throw it a little bit with Jimmy Mantuano. We saw Delsey was able to throw for a touchdown last week. But interesting subplot, right? You got Paul Sacco, 41st year as head coach and final year as head coach at St. Joe. And Kevin can elaborate on this because of these divisions. We said St. Joe had never played Lenape before. I don't know if they played Delsey before. But Sal Marquez is now the all-time wins leader at Delsey. This happened recently. So these two are going to face off in an all-time South Jersey coaching matchup.
250 wins versus whatever. What's Coach Sacker have?
1 million?
A million?
None crazier than last week.
I know. Yeah. So there's 500 wins there at least, right? 600, excuse me. That's a lot of football wins. 600 wins, probably part of 800, 700 games.
They've never faced each other, Kevin says. And
that's crazy.
Jean Ann says the game's at 6. Just get there early. Get there 5:30 just to be sure. Go down, if it's at 7, go down to Landmark, get yourself a burger.
Great place. I'm surprised there's not more games at Rowan, like during the year. You don't have to have a lot. Once some marquee games come with like a
Clearview and Kingsway opened the season there a couple years ago.
Well, they do it because their fields are under construction. I mean, I know teams don't like to give up home games, but there are some places that you are okay giving up a home game. St. Joseph's Field prior, I think I would have been okay if they wanted to give up a home game there.
Well, before Trevin Delgazzo left here on Sunday, and again, if you missed his interview on my Hats Off podcast on Sunday, go back and watch that thing or listen. We told him, now, you had a great week, but remember, the uprights are a little tighter.
Well, you don't have to tell a kicker that. We didn't tell our boy.
That's right, Stephen Mulville.
He asked us before the game, Coach, are they the
Nope.
upright?
Just say no.
Nope. I said they're just higher. They're taller, so they look thinner.
Wow.
That's what.
10-7. Lenape won that championship against RV. The regular season game was 10-7.
But you know what helped? The hashes.
Yep.
Because our last play was at the sideline. So the hashes helped you because they're tighter, but
Well, and you put it on the wrong hash when you played RV the first time. And you know how I know that is I went back and read my column from that game a couple weeks ago. And I remember you said that. But the first one shouldn't have been 10-7. It should have been 17-7 because Iverson Clement never stepped out of bounds when we ran for that touchdown. However,
man, he's a nitpicker, isn't he?
as I said in the column, that year, you guys could have played 100 times. It would have been 10-7, 50-50. Great football game. And it was cold.
Yeah, it was.
It was cold. Yeah, so that'll be epic. That's the Atlantic Chrysler Jeep Fiat game of the week. Delsey against St. Joe at Rowan. The final week of the regular season. The game is slated for 6, Kevin says. So 6 p.m. I will be there early in a tie.
I'm being told, now this I probably shouldn't
Phillies
say
play 7:37.
I'm very well aware. I'm being told that your points for power points are an accumulation of all your games?
Not out of state, though.
Not out of state, but if you played, Shawnee played 9 games, so they will get 9 cumulative game points. Other teams have played 8. See, it used to be, I know you got the top 7 out of your 8 games before the cut. So
This is up to Kevin. Kevin, you're our resident expert. So
I mean,
I would think it would have to be some type of cutoff.
I thought it was the best 8 of your games.
The
so
best
if you played
8.
9, it was your best 8.
Your best 8 of your games? Okay, yeah, because I'm thinking
that's what it was last year.
Right,
I'm pretty sure.
I know. Our last year, it was your
everything counts. Kevin says. There you go.
Right. So 9 games. What do you? So like teams that played 9 games have an extra game.
But that ruling,
But
I think that was a problem earlier in the season. They had that ruling that when it came out, nobody could. It was an issue with teams trying to get out of games at the time.
I don't know.
Because I think Williamstown was able to back out, if I'm not
Well,
mistaken.
they switched their Battle of the Beach to play RV because they originally scheduled to play out of state, and then they and then the game wasn't going to count for any points
Right.
because the state came in late with the ruling. So maybe that was the way to bridge the gap, was to say any game. I don't know. Everything counts according to Kevin. No residuals after 7 games is what Dwayne tells us. So no residual points, but head-to-heads would count.
Okay.
I don't know. All right. Either way, those final PowerPoints, I don't know if they're going to be out Sunday morning, if they're going to be out Sunday afternoon, if they're going to be out late Saturday. No, I don't know what time they'll be out, but I know next Wednesday's show will be a full preview of all of our groupings and our brackets.
And
I don't think we review anything from this weekend. If anything, maybe just the game of the week and the nod of the week, and let's just preview. Because it's playoff time, baby.
You like how we have a production meeting on camera?
On camera, live.
Live.
Well, these people are like our family.
We
They're
know we
like
don't-
our staff.
we don't- we know
we
we-
ask them for the answers to the questions. They might as well be a part of the process.
And we know we don't have a Phillies game because
Right.
the game 3, 4, and 5 is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and game 6 and 7, if necessary. If necessary. I have to say it, but
I like having everybody a part of the conversation. I'm hoping they come out before Sunday morning show, but that time will not change. It'll be the Hats Off podcast will be at 9 a.m. On Sunday, we'll either be doing hypotheticals about who's going where, or we'll just be talking about the matchups. But either way, it'll be a lot of fun. It is the best time of the year. You got that right, Dwayne. We are right there, and it's going to be a long playoff season. Because you get that, there's no playoff games Turkey Day week this year. The championship's the first week in December.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
If you go to the state
It's
final,
its own season.
if you go to the state final, you're playing in your 5th game over a 6-week period.
Kevin has the whole explanation in here. From the NJSIA regulations, UPR will be based on a weighting of 2 rating systems, PowerPoints and the opponent's strength index. The UPR will use a formula that will weigh PowerPoints at 40% and the OSI at 60%. Please note that all games played will count towards playoff qualification. Trying to get them Saturday nights, what Will Hickson says. A couple of North Jersey schools are playing Saturday evening, so maybe we'll have them Sunday morning. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Either way, we will be ready. Man, it's fun. Isn't it great talking about the playoffs?
Getting
You're talking about playoffs?
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 Yeah, I'm not happy with those guys either.
Yeah. Well, they're 2 different guys. I mean, at first I did Iverson as practice, and then he did Jim Moore Sr. as playoffs. Are you unhappy with Jim Moore
Right.
Sr. or the Sixers?
Sixers. I don't care about Moore.
Oh, they looked bad last night.
That was not good. In Boston, too.
Bad.
At least they did it on a night where everybody should have been watching the Phillies.
Yeah.
And even the Flyers came back.
I mean, Harden looked great. Max, anyway, again. See, this is why we can't do shows this late. Look at me. I'm like a baby. I'm exhausted.
Just tonight. Okay. All right. Gotten a little loose here, guys. Let's recalibrate. Best 11 rankings, Mac.
Is it midnight? What the?
Best 11 rankings. Let's roll through this. At number 11, we have the Mainland Mustangs. Only have 1 loss. They've been rolling. They were right there a number of times, and it seemed like when there was space in the rankings, they would be the one that moved in. I think that's a good call. They lost Ocean City earlier in the year, but if they played right now, I think Mainland would like their odds against Ocean City. So at number 11 is Mainland. 10 is Pennsauken. That's where they were last week. They're still undefeated. They rolled past Camden Catholic. They have a chance to wrap up an undefeated regular season against Vineland on Saturday on the road at 1 p.m. Number 9, Woodbury. Thundering Herd had the week off. They have a big one at Salem on Saturday at noon on Walnut Street. Number 8, Kingsway. They jump in there after beating Cherokee handily. I think they had control of that game. They won 35-21. The Dragons at the beginning of the season were one of the prohibitive favorites in South Jersey Group 5, and now they look the part. They got to calibrate things and get things going. They have a big one against Holy Spirit, which should get them tested for the playoffs for sure.
Kingsway and Lenape both play Monster, Augie, and Spirit for Monster PowerPoints on Friday.
Definitely.
Both teams.
Speaking of Augie, number 7, St. Augustine. I had not seen them up close since the Battle of the Beach, but I saw them Saturday against Camden Eastside. I thought their line was tremendous, and they are playing a much different brand of ball than they were earlier in the season. We knew that would kind of happen because of how young they are. The pieces are coming together. They've been a different team since Julian Turney went in the backfield. They're number 7. Number 6, Millville. The Thunderbolts took care of business last week against Ocean City. They welcome Cherokee to Wheaton Field on Friday night at 6 p.m. Lenape heads to St. Augustine, and Lenape sticks at number 5. Can't really drop them. You lose to number 3, and you had them on the ropes, and could have been up there in that top 3, but wasn't meant to be. Lenape stays at number 5. Holy Spirit at number 4. We mentioned Player of the Year candidates. The player I teased to, I'm not going to mention yet, but Rod had it dead on. I think Sean Burns has to be in the consideration, Kevin. Holy Spirit at number 4. They play Kingsway. Number 8. That is Inabseekin, I believe, at 6 p.m. Is it? Well, either way, it's at 6 p.m. St. Joe at number 3. Escape last week, finding ways to win. It's not always pretty, but wins are wins. And St. Joe only has 1 loss. They just keep on finding ways. They will be tested on Friday night. Number 2, Camden High, undefeated in the state, lost that opener to a very good team out in Ohio, and 41-0 over Paulsboro last week. They seem like one of the top favorites in Group 3. And number 1 is also in Group 3, Delsey. The Crusaders. A Player of the Year candidate has to be Jared Shoppy, who is pretty much one of the heart and souls of that defense at linebacker, and he is Mr. Do-It-All in terms of running the ball. I would say he is a Player of the Year candidate as we enter the playoffs. But as we discussed during that break, and Kevin notes that Kingsway game is at Kingsway, as we discussed during the break, the way it seems right now is that Player of the Year in South Jersey is going to come out of these playoffs. Yeah. I don't think it's not like one of those where it's somebody's to lose.
No, I mean
it's anybody's to win.
Who's going to show up in Mr. November, right? In Mr. November with a game in December.
That's right. Championships, memories, Player of the Year awards, Team of the Year awards, number 1, the best 11 rankings, all this stuff shakes out when it matters most. And that's what we're going to find out here in the next 6 weeks. It will be a pleasure, and we are excited for it. I want to thank everybody for watching. I know we kicked it back a little bit. It seemed like we had even more people in here than usual. Thank you guys so much for accommodating our schedule, which accommodated the Phillies' schedule. Had we known what would happen, we probably would have just gone off at 7 o'clock anyway, but hey, what are you going to do? Appreciate everybody for watching. As always, you can meet us back here Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for my Hats Off podcast.
Brett, my son's back in the States after 6 months of deployment over in the Baltic Sea.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, he was in a spot we couldn't talk about, and now he's back in. He was on land Tuesday, Monday, so he's gonna be back at home soon enough. Wow. Home, like home cook. Get some Wawa first, and then Mom make him some cutlets and all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. Shout out again to Rod, our guy, here at Studio B. He's the one who gets it all ready, gets it all set up. He is the man. You streaming anywhere this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be at Eastside.
He'll be at Eastside. As the Tigers play Delran, I think, right? Saturday afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
All right. D2 Sports Network. He's the man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week with lots to talk about, the playoff previews. Share it out to your friends. We'll be on Apple, Spotify. If you're listening to this, you know we're on Apple, Spotify. See you next week. Get ready for the playoffs. Bundle up for the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. Coach Tim McAneney, Rod Self, Mark Trible, and it's spelled Fauquier, Fauquier County.
Go Phils.